I'm Danielle Pierson. I am a cosplayer and costumer from Northern New Jersey, and I am one of the staff members of New Jersey's Garden State Comic Fest.
Hi, I'm James Hannon, author of Anatomy of a Cosplayer, Tales from Behind the Mask, and I'm here with Danielle Pierson.
Hello.
And she's a cosplayer and one of the staff members of Garden State Comic Fest. And what's new about this video is that this is a sponsored video by Garden State Comic Fest, and I've been going to Garden State Comic Fest for years, missed only one, and have always had a great time. They've treated cosplayers, attendees, and cosplay groups with the utmost respect, and I'm proud to have them as a sponsor, so thank you. And you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I got into cosplay and costuming when I was back in high school. One of my things in high school was I wasn't into nerdy things. I got into it when I was in about my sophomore year. Unfortunately, my mother actually passed away when I was in high school, so I fell into comic books as a type of way to get away from all that, and it was a really great way for me to come out of my shell and find something that I did enjoy. Harley Quinn is one of the costumes that I do the most of. She was one of the ones that I really attracted to in high school because she did make me happy and made me laugh. Right now, I have probably close to 20 different costumes, if I had to guess. 99% of them are Harley Quinn related, to the classic Harley. Some of my favorites, though, are the other ones that I've branched out and done. I did a Belle ball gown dress a couple years ago, and I also have Doctor Strange's Cloak of Levitation. I really enjoyed those projects because they were very detailed based. I could put a lot of handwork and detail into them that I can't do necessarily with my Harley Quinn costumes. But I would have to say my favorite is, of course, my classic Harley Quinn Jester outfit. It's the one that I have perfected over 5 years of cosplaying, and it's the one that I enjoy dressing up in the most because it is so much fun and I get to go out and play with kids, and I just enjoy doing it the most. I predominantly make most of my costumes, or they are pieces that I've bought and altered heavily. If I see something that I really like online that I really think fits something, I'll buy it and I'll alter it to make it perfect for that costume, but I do typically make everything, and I have taught myself everything I know about sewing, so it is kind of a guessing game, but I try my best to make it as accurate and well put together as possible, and I try to be as detailed and perfect as possible. Some of my dream costumes are Sarah, her big ball gown from Labyrinth. It's something that I would really love to do, but I have never started it because I cannot find the correct sort of iridescent fabric for it, so I won't do it if I can't do it perfectly. But I am very, very tough on myself about accuracy of how it looks, how it feels. I love texture and I love all the detail. Doctor Strange's Cloak of Levitation was something that I really loved doing because I was able to do all of the hand embroidery by myself. So for me, I love the costuming part of it, is the actual act of making the costume. It's a great hobby for me where I can focus on something and put a lot of heart and soul into making it perfect to the way that I want it to be. One of the cool things that I did get to do in costume was at New York Comic Con a couple of years ago. I was in cosplay and I got to go over to Metropolis Collectibles booth. They sell a lot of really rare comics, so I actually got to hold an Action Comics #1, which is the first appearance of Superman, and it's worth about $4 million, so I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I can't really say that I've had too bad of any memorable cosplay experiences that were bad. I always enjoy myself when I'm dressing up. You have the occasional creepy, awkward person that comes up to you, but there's ways to deal with that. I feel like everybody has a couple stalker stories from cosplaying. It happens. I've had a couple where I've had men try and take almost like awkward prom photos where they come up behind me and they grab me around the waist and won't let go. I've had people ask if they can take me home. And, you get those weird messages on Instagram like, hey, can I see your tights? And creepy stuff like that. There's different ways to deal with it. Over the internet, honestly, the way that I would recommend is to just ignore if you get messages on Instagram or something, just ignore it. Don't give them any kind of attention because that will egg them on further to either harass you more or anything. I mean, if it is in a sort of nasty, threatening way, obviously you can reach out to somebody and try and get them to address it, but the best way to deal with trolls is honestly to ignore them. In person, the best thing I would say is, again, ignore them, stick to a close group of friends so that you're not alone. Another option is you could also always go to the con staff with any kind of issue you have with harassment. Most con staffs, especially now, you know, there's the cosplay is not consent movement, so every con staff I've ever been to, especially the one that I work for, we're very on top of that. Any sort of harassment claims we take very seriously. We will get authorities involved if necessary, and we will remove the person if they are truly being, you know, threatening to you. So you can always feel safe to go to a staff member of any convention to talk about these issues. Garden State Comic Fest is a brand of Comic-Cons in New Jersey. It's one of the largest in New Jersey, if not the largest. We do different shows throughout the year. Our main show is in Morristown, New Jersey at the Men in Sports Arena. That's our biggest show. We also do a smaller version at Six Flags Great Adventure, and we've previously done shows in places such as Atlantic City, so we kind of branch out and do different shows, and we're always working to expand and do even bigger and better shows. And our main focus for these conventions is the actual comic book industry. We focus really heavily on comics, but we also do branch out, and we have a lot of pop culture and anime type stuff as well, so we hopefully please everybody. I got started working for Garden State Comic Fest about 5 years ago. Well, technically 4. I met them 5 years ago. It was their second convention that they had put on, and it was in the Hyatt in Morristown. I actually attended as a guest of the show. I just showed up to enjoy and shop and everything, and I cosplayed. I actually entered the cosplay contest, and I won their Best in Show. And so I met the owners, Dave and Sal. You know, we became friends, and we saw them at other conventions around in the area, and they liked me and my sister so much they actually invited both of us to come work for them. And my sister has since moved on. She moved up to Vermont, but I've always stuck around, and I really love working for them. I still cosplay. It's you know, the whole act of making the costumes myself is a great hobby for me, and I really enjoy putting effort into making these costumes. So that's a great part of it for me, but I also do always enjoy dressing up. It does get difficult when I have to cosplay and work, so I do have to kind of put it aside sometimes, but every time I do dress up, it does make me feel good about myself, it does make me happy, and I love running around a convention and just getting to see all of my friends and getting to hang out and have a good time, meet some great kids and have, you know, a lot of fun with them. One of my favorite things about when I dress up as Harley is I bring little props with me. Most specifically, I have little chattering teeth. That's a gag that one of my friends, Trevor, actually came up with, but they're just little wind-up teeth you get online, and we usually go out and give those out to kids when we're in cosplay. It's really great because some kids are kind of scared of cosplayers, especially as Harley and the Joker, you know, we're bad guys, so it's a great way to warm them up and make them really happy and give them something that they can bring home and enjoy and go, look, Harley Quinn gave me this. I think it's a hobby for a lot of people that will continue to grow. For me especially, you know, I have to put it aside to work sometimes, but I really do enjoy making costumes. Every time I do it, I learn something new, and I learn I can do something more, so I do really look forward to seeing what I can make in the future, what kind of new skills I can learn. I would really love to tackle a couple of my dream costumes like Sarah. There's a couple other Harleys that I want to tackle in the future that I feel comfortable doing now that I have the kind of knowledge of how to do them. So those are a couple projects that I would really like to do, but I think as a whole, I think it'll continue to be a big thing in a lot of conventions. I would honestly consider myself more of a costumer. I do love to dress up and do the whole act of cosplaying, but for me, my true love in it is being able to put a lot of that love into making the costume itself.
What's different about this video is that this is a sponsored video by Garden State Comic Fest. We've been going to Garden State for years, and they've always been a great time, and they've always treated us with respect, and we love going there. So we're happy to have them as a member, as a sponsor of this show.
Dave?